I wanted to tell you something. I want to build myself a CNC mill. You guys probably don't even know what that means. And that's okay, honestly, that's okay. Everyone was a baby at some point. The point of CNC mills is that you can achieve any geometry you want and produce almost any part you want, thanks to advanced and precise and super cool computer-controlled movements of cutting tools. I want to build it myself because I really want to learn about the mechanics and stuff behind these machines. Hey, that's a fucking lie. In reality, I'm just addicted to complicating my life for no apparent reason. I also don't have the money to buy one myself. So the only logical option is to, build it. Don't expect me to be an expert in this. I mean, in theory, that's what I'm studying, so maybe I should know stuff about this. But, I got these 4 motors for $17 each. Can you believe that? They came with no guarantee whatsoever, so that was risky. However, they appear to be new, so the seller wasn't lying, although he was kind of sus. He didn't want to send it through the official, website or something, so, I took a risk on that one and it paid off. He also wanted me to pay in advance, but he forgot one thing. Mama didn't raise no fool. To make the machine move, we need to somehow transfer the rotational motion of the engine's shaft into a linear motion. The machine will use a simple screw and nut mechanism for the linear motion of the axis. On this sketch you can see a motor attached to the threaded rod, also known as the screw. The screw lives in a little brass nut. The rotation of the engine's shaft will turn into the linear motion of the axis. Unfortunately, we don't live in a physics exercise, and this is the real world, so there are things like friction. So I decided to calculate the force that I will receive from this motor. Unfortunately, as I quickly discovered, this is extremely fucking complicated. Dare I say close to impossible, because there's so many factors at play. If I manage to screw this up, the machine will not even be able to move a single inch because the friction will be too high in the mechanisms. But why wouldn't you just use ball screws? Aren't they better? They have lower friction. Ball screws are extremely fucking expensive. Replacing them is such a pain in the ass. You would not imagine what happens when these balls fall out of this ball screw. It makes such a mess, all of these little metal balls rolling on the floor.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Yeah, no, thank you. I prefer a simple brass nut, which is cheap, like $2 cheap, easy to replace and simpler. But why is it made out of brass? Brass is much softer than steel, so isn't it worse? No, dumbass, it's not worse, it's better. It's better. I will explain to you why. The screw is much more expensive, like 10 times more expensive. So we don't want it to wear out first. We want the little nut to wear out first. That's why we're making it out of a softer metal. Now, the astute among you may have noticed that this is not a standardized metric thread. The thread on the screw is actually trapezoidal. So why did I choose a more expensive and rare thread profile? Well, it turns out that in these kinds of machines this is totally standard because they are just more efficient. The higher the thread angle, the more efficient the mechanism, as you can see on this chart. Another important part of the equation is the pitch. The greater the pitch, the faster the motion, but also you lose some precision. So it's a trade-off. I decided to go with almost the smallest pitch available, which was 2 millimeters. This will make my CNC mill slower, but it will be more precise. So to wrap up this extremely interesting discussion about threads, I calculated the force of the mechanism to be around 1 to 3 kilonewtons.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Is that enough? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, fuck around and find out, as they say. By the way, while doing this project, I learned to MIG weld, which was really cool. Alright, this is absolutely not a tutorial. Piece of scrap metal. 20 volts for 130 amps. I'm gonna go with 90 amps because I like the number 90. Let's try this. That's much easier than MMA, also known as stick welding. That is good enough for me. I don't think I need any better welds. Now with my left hand. Incredible stuff. Well, I could clean this off, but like, I don't care, you don't care. Let's just, why bother? It looks organic, natural. So I recorded a 25,000 hour video explaining in very grave detail how the mechanics work, but I kind of forgot that we're on YouTube here. I also did the same thing for the electronic part of the system. Right, so the electronics are as follows, but then I figured it's easier to explain it when it's already built. So here it is, it's ready, I finished it. It took like half a year. I went twice over the budget. But how did I get the money? The hidden hero of the story is PCBWay. PCBWay is a company specialized in high-quality PCB production and assembly. Do your PCBs look something like this? Or maybe like this? Yeah, their service is much better than what you could cook up in your basement. They can do standard, flex, aluminium PCBs, and they can go up to 14 layers. Your sorry ass couldn't even make a 14-layer sandwich. Their turnaround is around 24 hours. That's way faster than your shitty soldering iron can even heat up. If that wasn't enough, they also have a 3D printing and CNC machining service. Okay, back to electronics. Alright, this is the backside of the machine. I think it's time to see what's inside the electrical box. Alright, I'm gonna turn it on right now. No. Okay. The breaker was down, so yeah, everything's fine. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Alright, we see the machine came to life. The noise you hear right now is the pump. Wow, there's water flowing. Look at that beautiful pump. I had a leak here, as you can see, and I had to act very quickly, so I took the first thing I had that could solve the problem, and now it looks like shit, so... The astute among you may have noticed that the main motor is using a fluid to cool itself. That fluid is not exactly water. I'm using distilled water with some radiator coolant for cars. So I don't have any mushrooms, algae, bacteria. It's also anti-corrosive. Radiator coolant can be toxic. So I don't want to, inhale any of it. Water is more efficient at cooling than this thing. So I don't think I want to put in more. This worries me. I didn't read the instructions because I'm stupid, but this should not be 330 volts. Like, what is that number? Right, let's not get too sidetracked. Step by step. Power supply. It's capable of delivering 1 kilowatt of power. It's a server power supply. That's why it fits really well into this chassis here. This is an old computer chassis. The yellow lines are 12 volts, the red ones are 5 volts, and the orange ones we don't use, but they are 3.3 volts. And of course the black lines are just ground. So as you can see, the yellow lines, the 12 volts, go to these 3 little things here. They are drivers for the X, Y, and Z motors. Each driver is connected with this dedicated motor. For example, this is the X motor. They have little dip switches here that can be used to set the micro-stepping settings and the amount of current that the driver will send to the motor. Alright gentlemen, I think it's time for a test drive of the stepper motors. So my new favorite way of wasting time is changing the parameters of the motors and listening to the sound and trying to find the best sounding settings for the CNC mill. So for example, No. What if I do 150? That's interesting, but still not my favorite. What if I do 90 and I check the Z-axis? Nice. This is more bass. Okay, you can stop now. You can stop now. Okay. Oh shit. It doesn't have limit switches, so it would not stop. It's just going to push until it breaks itself or loses power. So I need to install the limit switches. I kind of didn't care up until now, so I don't even have software limits. This is the elephant in the room. This is pretty dangerous. It is a variable frequency drive. What that means, it drives the main motor, which does most of the hard work, with three-phase power. And three-phase power tends to be a little bit more dangerous because you can get higher voltages. Let's see what's inside. Here we have some terminals. From the left side we have live, neutral, and the three phases that are outputted into the main motor, which is off right now. There's also plenty of other terminals with various interesting functions, but you have to read the manual for that, and that's too hard for me. So if I turn this potentiometer here, the main motor will start spinning. I don't want to drive it too fast because last time it let out a little bit of magic smoke because I didn't read the instructions again because, yeah. Fortunately, not all the magic went out of it and it's still working. I felt so stupid, man. The motor is new, it's not trash. So that's why I felt so stupid that the one part that was the most expensive thing I managed to almost break. Beautiful experience. This is quite dangerous here because these wires here are really close to each other and this is kind of high voltage. The green and yellow lines are ground protection. They are connected to every part of the machine. If I would take a multimeter and do a continuity test and touch various places on the machine, everything is connected. This helps to protect people from getting killed. I have a place for a PC fan here, but no one cares. These two terminals are not connected. This will be a lamp. I decided to add a car lamp for some reason. I guess they were cheap, that's why I decided to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it off because it's kind of loud. Bonus round. Here's the microcontroller with a USB cable here, very professionally hooked up with a fucking screw. Very brutal methods employed here, but who gives a shit? A Raspberry Pi Pico, poor little guy. It is connected to these terminals here. They are color labeled and they go to the motors, X, Y, and Z, as you can see. There's an additional one called A. If I ever want a fourth axis, please never let me do that. I don't want a fourth axis. And some other stuff, which I'm not going to bore you with. This was a journey. This machine still has a lot of problems. For example, rigidity in this axis. So I have a lot of work to do, but I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back for achieving this. I think the machine is almost usable, and in a next video I would like to test it out on something, do something real with it. If you've been on my Patreon account, you probably saw that I shared some CAD files. Unfortunately, the CAD file I shared was the first design iteration, so it was totally off and unrealistic, and please don't use it. I apologize to everyone who had to look at this. The original design was so delusional that it scares me. Share this video with your mom. It's a small step for the electronics, but it's also a small step for humanity because no one gives a shit. Coming, incoming, incoming. This isn't going to work because I cannot lift this up. Or can I? Or can I?